Selling a house and buying a house is one of the most stressful things that anyone can go through. Over the years, we've bought and sold a number of properties in Auckland with some of the top agents. And I can honestly say we've never, ever noticed and felt the professionalism that these guys have produced in selling our home for us.
It was a no-brainer for me to choose Vanessa and Jono. I had seen them in action a couple of times already with various family members selling their house, so I knew what they could do.
Look, it was quite an emotional thing, especially for Jane, my wife. It was a big deal. We'd built this beautiful home several years ago and thought it was going to be the forever home, but circumstances changed, so it was a necessary sell. And we were out walking our dog one night and they were just down the road putting a big sold sign on a house that had been sold within a very short time for a very good price in our street.
Was just sort of her pedigree that we knew about. I actually talked to Wayne first because we had a little bit of history with him and asked him about his agents and said that I was very keen on Vanessa, and he came and said that he thought that Vanessa and Jono would be a perfect fit, and when we met them we agreed totally.
Well, I think just generally the professionalism that came out was obvious. We felt really comfortable from day one.
They're professional in a friendly way. You know, some people can be really professional, but they sort of stand away from you, whereas these guys are just so warm and giving. So it's lovely, just so easy.
Vanessa and Jono were pretty open and honest about what their indicative range was. But also I genuinely feel that they went into bat for me for the best price they could possibly get.
We felt at no time did they ever want to inflate the property value to make us feel better about choosing them as an agent.
Yes.
And that sometimes has happened in the past when we've sold previous properties. I've noticed that certain agents will overinflate the value of a property and
to get the listing.
To get the listing, yeah. And they don't come back with the results. And everything they said to us came to fruition. There was no promises that weren't met. Everything that they said happened.
I think without doubt Vanessa and Jono have a different approach to things and it works beautifully together. Vanessa is the great communicator and relationship builder. Jono kind of makes sure that the detail stuff gets attended to as well, and together they form a great team.
They obviously work so well as a team.
Yeah.
Each knows what their responsibilities are, and we found that Talia was anticipating quite often the questions that we were going to ask, so the answers were there before we even asked them, and that's a very special skill to have.
The whole process was pretty seamless because of Talia and Ray. No question was too hard, no question was too stupid, and whenever I needed them they were on the end of the phone. Things
just kind of materialised and happened, and there wasn't a hiccup at all. That's probably a sign of a pretty good backup team.
They instantly get back to you. You're not sort of thinking this is 2 days later and I haven't heard from my agent.
But also the way they made us feel, giving us feedback, it was never we were having to ask questions about how did it go.
I've used a number of agents over a number of years, and Vanessa, Jono, the team stand out in my mind as by far the best I've ever used. I'd thoroughly recommend them. They exceeded my expectations and I really couldn't have wished for better.
From my point of view, if you were selling in this area, it's a no-brainer. They're the number one salespeople. They're the most professional agents that I've ever worked with, and I've worked with a number, and they get the job done in a very, very professional, relaxed manner.